All right, it is 10:05, and I would like to get this Monday morning momentum started. It is October the 9th, 2023. And based on our email on Friday, I want to follow the agenda as follows. One, we're going to have our recap of our 35th annual conference. Then we'll have essentially our TAC 2023 in review by myself and Mr. President, as we've had a lot of activity. My first year as chair, and then I want us to talk about plans for 2024 and our virtual Friday fundamental workshop that I would like all chamber leaders would like to be present by Jim. That's going to be conducted by Jim Wyatt. And so first, I want to thank everyone here. I think everyone who's on the call currently attended our conference in Pflugerville a few weeks ago, September 13th through the 15th. I want to thank you all for your participation. You all are very valuable members of TAC, and I would like to thank you for making the trek. You all are again, since I saw you all starting on Wednesday, and I think we had a very robust conversation. We had great workshops, great presentations nationally from our economists, William Michael Cunningham and SBA, with our representatives there, to our local officials. We've had mayors, city council people present to us, as well as college presidents, as well as chamber leaders and members of the financial industry. And so we've had, again, another successful, content-rich conference. I definitely would like to have more people in attendance for our conferences. We still fell short of our goal of our chamber leaders attending. And so, again, like we always say, we always have amazing content. Once people are there, they think it's an amazing event. We just have to get people there. And so one thing that we are doing to spread the word is to have a video production team to capture our workshops and some other content throughout that week. And we've seen the first rounds of that, which has been very positive. There's some really good content that you all will see soon. We're in the process of editing, and our videographer Troy Knowles, who is from Austin, but is a Dallas-based Black production company, is doing a great job in creating a narrative for us, so that we're not only going to place this in our TAC archives, but also would like to disseminate this to all of our chambers. And so with that being said, Mr. President, do you have any comments or recap from the anniversary conference?
Yeah, thank you, Matt, and good morning, everyone. Just to bookend Matt's comments, one, the success of the conference can be attributed to the hard work of Kristen, who is on the call as well, who helped Mr. Chairman and myself execute what, as Matt just described, our usual stellar lineup on the technical mechanical side. We wouldn't have been able to do it. I think some of the touches that we added this year that followed up on last year's conference with the flip book agenda, I think were great touches and allowed us to maximize resources we had available to make sure the conference was a success. Some of the touches that we added this year, I see Linda Gray is on the call. She absolutely was a critical component of what was styled as the consult corner, where we were able to engage Small Business Development Center, the SBA, financial institutions, and SCORE to assist us in one, integrating the push to enroll Black Chamber members in the Buy Black U.S. Black Chambers Buy Black certification process. I think that was a really, really, really neat addition to the conference this year, and I think it was well received. We did engage one of our newer sponsors / supporters, Lendistry. We have been in touch with them. They are CDFI, specializing in small business finance. They had a couple of representatives there. Since then, we have begun the process of being one of their value add providers for access to their loan portal. When our relationship / partnership is fully fleshed out, we will have a Lendistry loan application page added to our website, so that business owners from across the state will have one-click kind of access to lending portal. And so, as noted, it was our 35th anniversary. We did this year, for the first time since I've been associated with the organization, awarded a Chamber of the Year award. As we went through applications for the Reginald Gates Small Business Awards and our other named awards that we do at every year's conference, it became apparent that a significant number of those nominees were from the Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber of Commerce. Clearly, on the heels of the passing of the late great DuBois Jennings, it was thought that one way to honor the work, his commitment to the organization over the years, was to, one, create a Chamber of the Year award, and in addition, name that Chamber of the Year award for DuBois Jennings. And so the Fort Worth Metropolitan Black Chamber and about 3 of their members were recognized during the awards portion of our conference this year. And we hope to keep that tradition going and then use that to inspire other chambers to at least make us aware of the work that they're doing in their chamber. We can do that through our Monday morning momentum meetings, and so we can keep up with what's going on around the state. I think Matt, you did a great recap of the conference. We do look forward to some of the video content being made available to the public, and of course for utilization at local chambers as well. The workshops were great, as you noted. One that we really would like to focus on, and I was out of town and I did not get to attend the Texas Association of Black City Council Members meeting, which was held here in Dallas. Jim Wyatt did come up and was recognized for his contribution to that organization over the years. But as Matt noted, we did have mayors and council members from across the state. And why that's so significant is that Texas has nearly 60 Black mayors. A number of them, again, excluding the big cities, Dallas and Houston, those mayors control budgets well over $1 billion for goods and services. And as we expand our relationship with those members who control those budgets, I think opens up a huge, and I mean huge, in terms of being 3 or 4 times as large as the state's spending with Black-owned businesses. And so our relationship with Black mayors and Black city council members opens doors for a big boost in contracting opportunity for black business owners across the state. Again, the presence of staff members from U.S. Black Chambers on both the Buy Black platform, which again is one part is certification, one part is a national directory of Black-owned businesses. The Grow with Google content, and the Community Navigator program, which has been a big boost to TAC and our outreach activities across the last year and a half, and it's just about to wind down. And I'll touch on that later. It may result in our being somewhat extended in the Community Navigator program. It has been a successful program nationwide, and we're crossing our fingers that we will be included in this expanded, extended program, I'll say. Again, Linda Gray, we really appreciate your commitment to the work we do. I think the one thing that, Matt, going forward that you did not mention was our commitment to the quarterly roundtables, and that at this point we're committed to Abilene, I believe, in December, which will also be our fourth quarter board meeting. And so kind of marked it. I don't know if we've got a hard date just yet for that quarterly meeting, but y'all get your traveling boots and your cowboy boots on so we can get out to Abilene in December. So it should be a great time as well. And that's a quick recap on my end, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. President. And yes, and in fact, Dolores Moore, was not able to join. She had a doctor's appointment, so she emailed me earlier today. But she did say that she's still on standby for having Abilene as the December meeting. So we are still going to move forward with having that quarterly meeting in December in Abilene. And so thank you for your report. Thank you for all the service that you've done in 2023 with TAC. We will touch base again on what we've done throughout the year, particularly during the legislative session, and how this is going to impact how the new the reopening of the session this week, I believe, how that's going to impact Black businesses. I do want to give a special shout out to Linda Gray and to Kristen O'Neill for all of the work that you've done. Kristen is an amazing individual working throughout the year, not only on the conference, but she is in the background actually doing the work, meeting with USBC on a weekly basis for the Community Navigator program, and is also working with Google and with our other partners so that we can provide programming in TAC. So Kristen, thank you very, very, very much for all the work that you always do for us. Do you have any comments or any words?
Oh, thank you for that. It's truly it's an honor to be able to just kind of work alongside each of you. I'm glad to be able to do this work, and looking forward to some more. Like I said, we got some our December meeting coming up, and just looking forward to planning for 24 so that we can knock 24 out of the park, not just with our regional meetings, but also with our annual conference again in September. So we got some stuff coming down the pipe with USBC, like Mr. O'Neill kind of spoke to about, excuse me, the CNPP program and a potential extension. So we got some things coming, and look forward to kind of engaging with each of you chamber leaders to help us move those goals forward. So be on the lookout for more information on that.
Thank you very much. Matt, our project manager, and please continue to do well at the State Fair these next 3 weeks or so. The end is near.
They tried to take us out this weekend with Texas OU.
I bet.
So OU won, so they stayed a little longer, but they spent some money. So we all right.
That's always good. And for the record, Kristen is works with a Black-owned vendor at State Fair. It's their third year.
Third year.
Third year at the fair. And so, if you all are in Dallas, I think it's called Mac Loaded.
Mac Loaded.
There you go.
Mac Loaded. If you come to Dallas for the fair, come see me.
All right. Thanks,
All right.
Kristen.
Thank you.
Do we have any other? Are there any other comments from chamber leaders involving the conference before we move forward to our TAC 2023 review? And Coretta, thank you for the information you're providing in the chat with the farmers group. I'll have you report that at the conclusion of our meeting, by the way. All right. If not, I want to talk a little bit about what we've done this past year. My first year as chair. This time last year, I presented a platform of 3 major pillars. One is building a digital network so that Black chambers can communicate. We also plan to organize the state into 5 different regions so that we can continue our outreach and classify and group chambers together by proximity so that we can build a network of support for one another. And then thirdly, my goal is to develop resources, educational resources, so Black chambers can continue to have support from the Texas vantage, from the statewide organization, the organization that is built based from local Black chambers across the state. And so with that being said, I want us to continue that direction moving into 2024 because we have had several meetings regionally in which I've learned a lot from local presidents, from emerging presidents, individuals like Zoe, who is creating Black Chambers of Commerce, to Abilene, to the Great Southwest Black Chambers of Commerce. We all have very similar challenges in our markets. And I also have seen the value in us communing and working together. And so going into 2024, we want to strengthen those bonds. I am doubling down on building the network throughout the state. Daniel Griggs, who attended our conference a couple weeks ago, is still with ATX Web Designs, is still going to be a partner so that we can strengthen those bonds amongst the chambers, not only so that we can build our better chambers individually, but we must have strength as we are going to Austin. We must have some digital presence, and I would love for us to move forward with that. I've seen value in going to meetings quarterly in different locations, whether it was going to West Texas or going to Houston, the Houston area where Prairie View sponsored the regional conference in February, or us meeting in Fort Worth for our North Texas meeting. We were able to have some very valuable conversations before going to our conference in September that allowed not only chamber members to interact with one another, but also people to hear more about the purpose of Black Chambers of Commerce throughout the state. There were business owners who weren't affiliated with chambers who would pop in the meetings and have a better understanding for our organizations. Also, we've gained corporate supporters through this process as well, in which I would love I would want us to continue this in 2024 as we are going to experience an environment that will become more hostile for Black advocacy organizations. So it's very vital for us to move forward and build as chambers of commerce. And then lastly, one thing that I want us to build a bit more specifically this year is to provide you all resources so that you can have information to disseminate to your local markets. We will do this and we will improve this by providing more content, not only on our website, but also on our YouTube pages and our social media pages, because it's really important for us to spread the information that we received in September, that we received constantly from our guests on Monday Morning Momentums. Our chambers, our local chambers need to see that, and it needs to be digestible so that you all can provide in your newsletters, and most importantly, us work together so that we can build the Black business ecosystem. And so I'm confident and optimistic at the direction we are moving as an organization, but I do recognize that there's going to be challenges externally as our environment is not in a space that would like to see Black businesses flourish and grow on a mass scale in the state of Texas. And so it's important for us to double down and to build on one another. And that's what I want us to work on going into this year. We will also have, I as chair, will also focus and work with the executive team to build our governance board more. We need more support from you all. We need more engagement from Black chambers. We need to have more than just 3 or 4 voices saying things. We need to have 30 leaders to guide our president, Charles O'Neill, as he is making daily decisions, as he is making daily strides in Austin to fight for us. We need to fight for him, and we need to make sure we are a full body. And I am open to finding ways to communicate with you all. But what I do know is that if our board does not operate or govern appropriately, our organization will suffer. And so it's just not fair for all the work that Charles is doing. It's not fair for us in our 30-year history and our current position and our almost 90-year legacy of this advocacy organization for us to not fully be engaged. And so we need to make sure that we are engaged as a body. I take a full responsibility on that, and I'm going to lean on my executive members. I know my secretary is on. I'm going to lean on them so that we all can build a better tack from the governance side. Lastly, I want us to continue to communicate our events with one another so that we can, not only support one another, but we want to make sure that people across the state know that there's state Black chambers that are advocating in different ways, shapes, and forms for Black businesses. And we want TAC to be that space that can disseminate that information, not only to local Black businesses in the state of Texas, but also our broadcasters, also our publishers, our auxiliary organizations that support the Black business ecosystem need to know what you all are doing, what we all are doing. And so I want us to build that infrastructure there as we are moving forward and are designing our programs locally. Please let us know so that we can not only support you, but also sing praises through our mediums on all the work that you're doing. Charles, do you have any comments on my last statements?
Well, just that again, it certainly benefits us all when all of us are engaged, and that's a problem, not a problem. It's a challenge that we strive to overcome over the years, but we do recognize that each local chamber has its own unique challenges that have to be addressed on a daily basis. But I think in the conversation we've had here recently, Matt, we talked about if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And
Yep.
our Monday morning momentum, Friday fundamentals, quarterly workshops, and the annual conference give us an opportunity, give us opportunities to go fast or go far, working together. So I encourage all chamber leaders to stay in touch with each other in the interim between our meetings, because I think, again, there's strength in unity, and in unity there is strength. And so to the extent that any of the work that we do can be beneficial to you in your local markets, understand that it's beneficial in all markets. And so when we stay in touch with each other, we become a force that has to be reckoned with across the state. And as Matt noted, we do have some, I think some, in white folks talk, I think we have existential challenges coming up as a result of legislation that has been passed. And unless we work to develop strategies to overcome those challenges, it will have impacts all the way down across the entire state. And I think those challenges are looming with the announcement of the special session gaveling in at noon today. They're going for the good. We are recognizing the length, depth, and breadth of the challenge to the work that we do that will be weaponized by the state legislature.
Thank you, sir. I agree 1,000%. And again, I thank you for all the work that you're doing. Please keep us up to date on what's happening in the session that's opening at 12 noon. I'm almost certain that you will. And before, and then I want to discuss Friday fundamentals, in which Jim Wyatt conducted a workshop during the conference that was cut short, but we will create a virtual meeting in which all chambers need to attend in the next month or so. Jim has already agreed to conduct the workshop. We just need to finalize on the Friday date so that we can send that to you. And that's all of this is important and is tied together because as this initiative in the state of Texas to further their agenda happens, we need to be prepared as well. And that's not only us standing firm with position statements as PAC, but also operationally and functionally as Black Chambers of Commerce locally. And so Jim Wyatt will provide that context and that support for us as Black Chamber leaders that I want to make sure all of us are a part of. All right. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? I've discussed my 4 points. Charles, do you have anything else you'd like to add, particularly with this new session, with this additional session, or with anything that's going to happen in Austin in the next month or so?
Well, the most, as and most of you know by now, the governor sets the agenda for a special session, and so this third special session of this legislature is dedicated to 5 items. And the most critical, in my estimation, of course, is the school voucher deal, and it looks like there has been some weakening in the position from the Legislative Black Caucus. It looks like Barbara Gervin Hawkins from San Antonio has expressed interest in some compromise in the position of most Black folk, that is in opposition to vouchers. The asterisk to her position, however, is the fact that she is the president of a charter school. And so it's a self-serving kind of accommodation that she is seeking to reach with those folk who, again, in my estimation, this is purely subjective, are attempting to gut public education in the state of Texas. So again, the very unique needs of Ms. Gervin Hawkins and her school do not lessen in any way the negative impact that this particular action will have on Black students across the state. The other items, of course, were associated with border. The unfortunate part about that is he's asking for tons and tons and tons and tons of additional money, money that can be used in other ways, more positive ways than constructing border walls and putting in barriers in the Rio Grande River. However, there was one announcement last week, and I think not directly related to this special session, but the state of Texas has finally gained clearance from the U.S. Treasury Department to roll out the Texas Small Business Capital Initiative, a credit initiative. You know, we have talked about that for the last year and a half. We've reached out to the Legislative Black Caucus to assist us in ensuring that the $478 million allocation from the Treasury Department, which is housed in the Governor's Office of Small Business, which has not been friendly necessarily to Black-owned businesses, that those $478 million are not, don't go the way of the PPP loans, where Black folk did not benefit at all. We do expect that should we become able to divert, and that's a loaded word, divert some of those resources to the benefit of Black-owned businesses, that the TSSBCI program requires outreach activity. And so we believe that TAC is positioned to assist those financial institutions who are able to access the credit initiative to assist them in their outreach activities. And we'll talk more about that. That is one of the interest areas of Lendistry, as I noted. One side note is an old friend or acquaintance of TAC was recently named President CEO of the Lift Fund. Laurie Vineyard, who is the former president of Unity National Bank, the one Black bank in the state of Texas, has been tapped to lead Lift. Lift and People Fund have been the governor's office's go-to small business lenders. Clearly, we know that neither of them, either Lift Fund or People Fund, have been particularly beneficial to Black-owned businesses. However, we believe again that when those funds are accessed by either of those two lenders and or Lendistry, that we'll be able to maximize, again, financial support for outreach activities. And so that's one. One other quick note, another long-term friend of TAC, Mr. Aaron Demerson, who most recently was the Employers Commissioner for Texas Workforce Commission, was named by Governor Abbott to be the CEO of the Texas Economic Development Corporation. It is a public-private organization funded through the Governor's Office of Small Business, or the Governor's Office of Economic Development. Aaron, I did swap texts with him yesterday. I wanted to congratulate him, but two, to put in our bid to make sure that we're included in a very different way than we have been in the past in the activities of Texas Economic Development Corporation. Significant among their activities is attraction of enterprises to the state of Texas. We have long believed that the money dedicated to attracting, in the case of the way that organization works now, it is mostly to attract corporate headquarters to the state of Texas and other kinds of relocations. We believe that there is a very narrow window available for us to be included in that relocation activity to fill some of the gaps that we currently have in the infrastructure, or as Matt would call it, the ecosystem of Black business in the state of Texas, to attract businesses that are able to maximize or to access some of the opportunities, particularly in construction for the state of Texas. I think a month and a half ago, 2 months ago, TxDOT approved a $110 billion construction plan out over the next 10 years. I mean, we can't even imagine what those numbers represent, but we do know that they made a $110 billion commitment without any intent for Black-owned business to have access to any of it. We don't have a lot of businesses in horizontal construction, that is roads and bridges, but there are big businesses across the country, Black-owned businesses that could benefit by our activity to attract them to these opportunities. And so that's one short-term, I think, access point. And of course, other enterprises as well. Coretta mentioned the Black Farmers Initiative, or the Growers Initiative. There are a couple of organizations across the country, the African American Growers Association, where there are some Texas members that kind of supplanted the Texas Black Farmers Organization, which has been kind of weak over the years. But we also have another member, longtime member of the Dallas Black Chamber, rancher Wesley Ratcliffe and his family, who have created an agricultural entity, beef producers in the state of Texas. And we have been asked to support their organization. And that's another way for us to use some of the outreach dollars that are available when we can get Black growers of agricultural products, from grains over to meat, in this case beef, into supply chains of big restaurants and fast food enterprises. Then we have changed very much our activity in those particular industry segments. So that's a real quick, I think, again, that TSSBCI is going to be big and should result in added financial support for the work that we do in outreach, with our fingers crossed. And then finally, and this is one that we, again, because the session gavels in at noon today, I don't expect they'll do much more than hear the charges from the governor's office, again, outlining what he wants the legislature to attend to in this special session. And I will talk. I swapped text also with Representative Reynolds yesterday, who chairs Black Caucus, to see if, and we've kind of had a exploratory conversation about this, if a Black Business Day 2.0 is going to be necessary during this session to attract attention to our positions vis-a-vis both the vouchers and what we expect will be some backdoor effort to expand anti-DEI to include contracting opportunities. I'm really, really concerned about that. And I'll defer until I talk to Representative Reynolds after the day's gavel in.
Thank you, Mr. President. Appreciate that update. And please let us know on needing to have that second Black Business Day, particularly if we need to do that early November. I don't know the timeline for this session, but please keep us informed.
I'll say this, Matt, and thank you. We don't know the timeline exactly. However, he has been, Governor Abbott has been pushing, and they're dumping lots and lots of money. I think, as I noted, Representative Gervin Hawkins, I think in the last week, got about 80 grand infused into her campaign coffer to soften her up on her position on vouchers. Abbott's commitment is that if the legislature, and I do expect that they won't get a voucher deal. I just can't imagine that the opposition has softened as much as he would like. So if the special session does not result in a voucher bill to his liking, that he will add add to the state's upcoming election a note on put the voucher deal before the public for a vote. That makes it problematic in that Black folk have not registered to vote. And I think tomorrow is the last day to vote
for November,
register for the November election. And so we really, really, really have to be very watchful on this deal. And so again, I'll know more after I talk to Representative Reynolds today.
Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Are there any questions, comments, or concerns? Coretta, I do want to share with everyone who's on the chat box that the chat content you created in the chat. Would you talk to us a little bit about the Black Farmers Initiative, as well as Jarvis Brewer with the Texas Economic Development and Tourism space? Coretta?
Yes. Basically, I was just sharing with Matt, and I was basically it's Black Gold Resourcing. They are interested in, I guess, doing a presentation. I let them know that we have a statewide chamber organization that they need to get in touch with. So I did forward the information. So hopefully she will follow up. If not, I provided her information. Her company, I guess, is contracted through the USDA to assist with getting Black farmers access to the money that has been set aside to address discrimination when it comes to getting money from the USDA. So she is particularly targeting Black farmers in Texas. I think her region includes Texas, but I don't think Texas is the only state that she's working in. And so I just wanted her to get in touch, get in front of the right people, so that whatever she's trying to do in terms of providing technical assistance and advocacy for Black farmers, she'll get, the right information
Got you.
and get in front of the right people. The other thing I put in the chat was we met this Black guy who works at the governor's office, so I just put his information in the chat, Jarvis. I don't know if he can be of assistance to us, but I just put his name in there. Just
I think Charles, you know Jarvis, don't you?
Whew, Lord have mercy, yes.
I don't know if it's a bad thing or a good thing, but I said, well, we did show up to one of them governor summits, so I was like, well, I don't know if he's an ally or not.
He is not an ally.
Oh, okay.
He did attend Black Business Day at the Capitol last session. He is a governor's appointee, and he clings jealously to his relationship with the governor. So he's my first encounter with him was not positive. He did show up, even though again we had a fractious first meeting. He did show up and was acknowledged that he had no idea what the history of TAC and its advocacy work across the years, and so, but it has not resulted in any change in the way the governor's office of small business. In fact, I think if those of you who follow the small business forums, I think the governor's office has made a concerted, very, very, very focused effort to not include Black-owned businesses or Black chambers in their outreach activities. At a point 4 or 5 years ago, we had a Governor Small Business Forum at every annual conference. That eroded when it became apparent to the governor's office that their participation in our conference required financial support from the governor's office, and they just cut it off. And so Jarvis's presence in that office has not changed that position. And so we would expect that somebody Black like Sonia Gaylord, who had worked in the office, made sure that we stayed connected. Jarvis has not been the same kind of internal advocate for us that we critically need inside the governor's office of small business. So maybe somebody
we know that. I wasn't sure, so I just was like, okay.
Yeah, but your interaction with him could possibly be a benefit. Again, I was quite short with him again because he spotted the party line to me in our first conversation, and my response was kind of X-rated. And he took offense at that, and I do apologize. I apologize to him for my expletive laden response to him, trying to tell me how good the governor's office is and how responsive it has been to the people we work for, when we know that not to be the case. Maybe some others can help bridge that gap. Again, your interaction with him, Coretta, is another approach to the governor's office that we might be able to maximize a different relationship.
Okay, no problem. I just want us, just so that we're all in sync. Y'all let me know what I need to be asking, pushing for. Maybe we can get in through the back door.
Right.
And that's why we have this Monday morning momentum, so that we can rally the troops and find ways for us to strategically have access to information regardless of our approach, because we acknowledge that multiple approaches are, one, authentic, and two, are necessary in order for us to survive in this space. So I see Mr. Miller from Abilene joined us. How you doing, Mr. Floyd? Good to see you. We can't hear you. I think we have you on mute. You're on mute. But thanks for filling in for Ms. Moore. We appreciate it. We will provide a recording of this video to everyone so that you can see it in its entirety. If there are no other questions, comments, or concerns, I will conclude this Monday Morning Momentum at 10:56 a.m.